Hello, I'm Virginia Kuhn. I wish I could be physically present, but I want to thank my colleagues for allowing me to participate in this way since I can't be there, and I want to thank the audience for bearing with me. I'm an associate professor of cinema in the newly formed Media Arts and Practice Division of the USC School of Cinematic Arts. One of the key questions around which this panel was organized concerned MOOCs, massively open online courses, and their impact on first-year composition. And it's no wonder. Even the most cursory search of the Chronicle of Higher Education uncovers copious articles that reference MOOCs. But what's even more revealing is when these references occur. 3 years ago, there were 12, but in the last year alone, there have been 290. A search of Inside Higher Ed reveals quite similar results. Whether it's Coursera, Udacity, or Khan Academy, MOOCs have captured the pedagogical imaginary across all disciplines in a way that's fairly unprecedented. This MOOC mania does, however, bear some resemblance to the hype surrounding initial computer integration into education. Like those early sound bites, MOOCs will either revolutionize education or ruin it. They will democratize access or stratify university education, widening the chasm between elite institutions and all others. Besides this hype, though, there's little evidence that these private companies are applying the principles of connectedness and distributed learning that George Simmons and Stephen Downes pioneered in 2008. While these issues are complex and compelling, for me the most interesting area of inquiry centers on the actual texts that comprise a MOOC. You see, the architecture of computer networks has only recently been able to accommodate the advances in graphics processing units, which allow online hosting and streaming of these big fat video files. But the impact is enormous, and I don't think that's hyperbole. Video is everywhere. Not only do we view it, we produce it. Indeed, much of my work centers on the premise that digital technologies endow filmic texts, or video texts, with book-like qualities. Unlike the ephemerality of early television and cinema, video texts can be analyzed in a sustained way. They can be stopped, started, and studied with relative ease. In this light, we might view MOOCs as libraries that house these video texts. And flipping the classroom, that term that's been bandied about for assigning a video as homework and reserving class time for discussion, we can see that it's actually based on a lecture model. If we instead view these videos as the textbooks that students are assigned to read in preparation for classwork and discussion, then this flipped classroom is pretty much business as usual. And this seems to be what Coursera has recently realized. On May 29th, they announced a shift in their approach. They will partner with 10 public institutions to explore, quote, campus-based MOOCs, unquote, or blended learning. As one astute article notes, rather than competing with state universities as originally planned, they were going to insert their rockstar faculty's lectures, they will now compete with Blackboard and other course management systems. It is the composition of these video texts, then, that should concern us, just as the composition of alphabetic text has been our focus to date. A number of companies are in the video making business, and many see educational video as a huge market. Indeed, Kaltura, the video platform that offers both hosting and online editing, is holding a summit next week, and the promotional materials explicitly link commercial video with educational video. While it's not that I think there are no overlaps, but pedagogy and advertising are, or should be, rhetorically discrete endeavors. Moreover, rhetoricians ought to be actively weighing in on the ideology inherent in cinematic language as well as in the content that it relays. And some are. Khan Academy videos have been called out by subject matter experts as being flawed and have given rise to mystery theater-style parody videos. Or take the case of Common Craft educational videos. The Common Craft goal is explained in a recent book called The Art of Explanation, which was written by Lee Lefevre, who founded Common Craft. Lefevre makes a case for creating videos that explain complex ideas in plain English, and he notes that Common Craft has been hired by educational institutions, and further that the Common Craft style has emerged. It bears noting that nowhere in this art of explanation is the word rhetoric even mentioned. But what happens when complexity cannot be represented in plain English, and or when such companies who work with little, if any, scholarly input simply get it wrong? There are numerous examples of flawed logic in the down-home style narrative of Common Craft educational videos that cover topics such as plagiarism, RSS, and Twitter. But perhaps the most egregious example comes in the advice for constructing a video explanation. The recommended 3-minute length includes general guidelines, one of which is trade accuracy for understanding. This advice is later repeated in a description of a successful explanation, this time as a lesson learned, since the creator was willing to trade accuracy for understanding. Without belaboring these examples further, I'd like to just close by noting that if we consider writing with video as an extension and evolution of the academic essay, then the implications of this MOOC-inspired provocation for writing studies are numerous. Thank you.